I'll just record this section, right? But here's the thing about goals, right? Go out and live successfully. GOALS, right? Somebody could even type that in the chat. Go out and live successfully. Now, I got the idea of, if you Google and you'll find his name, Bill Gates has 7,000 written goals. 7,000. And ladies and gentlemen, I learned it through a gentleman called Shane Moran. I think Mark may know Shane Moran. He is one of the founders of Organa Gold. When he shared that idea with us on stage at that training, he showed us his goal book and he had over 4,000 written goals. And at that time I said, no, I need to get a goal book as well. And I delayed doing it. Thank you very much, Lillian. Go out and live successfully. So what happens is that if we do not have goals for next year, what happens is that the society sets your goals or your boss sets your goals. Has anybody ever worked in a company and they do not have goals for the next year, right? Or let me ask it this way. Have you ever worked in a company and they have goals for next year and targets? Unmute and tell me yes if they do.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And they bring the staff together and they communicate the goals to them, right?
Yes.
Yes. Now, who are those goals designed to benefit? The goals for the company.
The company?
The owners.
Everybody.
Everybody.
The goals are
It benefits the company.
Goals are supposed to benefit the company.
Are supposed to benefit the company. So who is setting goals for your family and your personal life? Because you can't rely on the company to do that. But obviously over the years, if you look back over the years, those goals that they have set for themselves, they give us goals every year. They write them down very clear. They have meetings about them and they set targets that each employee must achieve. And who benefits from those goals being accomplished at the end of the year or getting close to the goals? The shareholders. Who are the shareholders? The ones who own the company. So we have to have our own life. If we do not set goals for our life, somebody's going to set goals for us and use us to achieve their goals. Just remember that. If you do not set goals for your life, somebody else is going to use your life to set goals to achieve their goals for themselves. Okay, put a 1 in the chat if you got that clearly. Put a 1 in the chat if you got that clearly, right? Now, we have to make sure that we have goals that we are setting for ourselves and not simply accepting the goals of a corporation. Thank you, Henrietta. Thank you, Lillian. Right. So I started back as far back as September 10th of October 9th, right? 2014. Because after a while I said, no, I need to make sure that I do this every year. And, you know, I've not been consistent every single year, but I'm getting better at it. I've become, last 3 years, I've been consistent, right? So, oops. All right, so if you look now, you notice that there's some ticks here beside these goals. I need to go back through and see. But after a while, you're going to start to check off these goals. You're going to start to see that some of the goals have been accomplished, right? That every year that I write down. So what I do, and what I'm going to encourage you to do, and I started this morning already, all right, November 1st, 2022, goal setting and review. And what I do is that I go back through last year, right? And I go back through last year. Where is it? Last year, gone too far. I'm going to show it to you. There's the beginning of this one, 2021. All right, this is personal, so spiritual must be here somewhere. Okay, here it is, right? And last year I slipped up. I should have done my goals November 1, and I did it January 1st, 2022. And if we go back, let's go back again. All right. So success can't be accidental, guys. Success is intentional. You have to be very clear on it. Oops, went back too far. Here it is. All right. Oops. November 2nd, 2020. Okay, so I did that one on time. And then if you go back again, you'll see the different years. I think I missed 1 year. I can't remember which year I missed out, but November 1st, 2019. Okay, so I'm not trying to say something to you, out of just saying it. All right, November 8th, 2018. And if we go through, you'll see that a lot of these goals have been accomplished. So if you do not have goals for your life, somebody else is going to give you goals that they want to use your life to achieve. Are we together, guys? Unmute and tell me if we're together. If you do not have goals for your life, somebody's going to use your life to achieve their goals. Go ahead, Lillian.
Yes, together with you, I'm following.
All right. I hope you're getting something valuable out of this, guys, right? Because this is not hype. This is what we need to do. And this is not, I'm not going to be able to tell you what those goals are, okay? Because you have to have those goals for yourself. You need to know what you want out of life. Because, you've heard the statement. Robert knows the statement very well. You have not because you goal not. The scripture says you have not because you ask not. But I'll tell you, I've trained on this already, that goal setting is a spiritual law for permanent prosperity. You and I have to have written goals. You and I have to have a goal. What are we going to accomplish? Not as a group, because we have a platform, and it's a beautiful platform that gives us the opportunity to earn money from trading, to earn money from building the business. And we can earn as much money as we want, but we will not do the work if we do not have clear goals as to what we intend to achieve for 2023. And those of us who take the time to write these down, because I could tell you all of this stuff, but I'll tell you, those of us who do the written goals are going to be the ones who set themselves ahead. Because I'm not a leader because, I am special. It's because I understood some things years ago. I learned it the way you're learning it now. And I did it. I just showed you, I've gotten to number 660, and I'm not done today yet. I still have to do the other areas. So what is the first area? The first area are your spiritual goals. Somebody type that in the chat for me. Type spiritual. So you need to have your spiritual goals. All right. Those are goals that are going to be relating to your, fellowship. Where are you going to fellowship? How often are you going to fellowship? And, it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian, you're Muslim, or you're Hindu. That doesn't make a difference. It is that you have a higher being and you have chosen to fellowship. You've chosen to study. You're reading your spiritual books. You're doing your prayer work. You're doing your meditation. You're becoming clearer and clearer on the truth about life and the principles that govern life as it relates to God, you, and this earth. So all of that is becoming clear. Spirit, soul, and body. We have to do our spiritual work, right? Because everything begins with our Creator. Our Creator is number one. So if you're not doing your spiritual goals as to how is it that you're going to make 2023 better than 2022, look at what you did in 2022. What additional things can you do? What, for example, I have some meditation retreats that I participate in. There's a class that I'm attending right now every Tuesday evening at 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, 5-week class with Reverend Beckwith. I'm spending that money to go to that class. And the next year, I'm not going to miss the next one. And I also have retreats that I plan to go to. There are other books that I read as well. So you have to invest in your spirituality. It's not only, oh, thank you, thank you, Father, bless you, bless my food, go to church and listen to a preacher or a pastor, and then that's it. That's fine. That's a good start. But we have to dive down into this stuff for real, okay? Did somebody type spiritual already? Did somebody type spiritual in the chat? Okay, spiritual goals. Thank you very much for that. Who's my note taker today? All right, as Lillian. Thank you very much. All right. So we're making progress, right? So go ahead now, make sure you get a book, because here's the beautiful thing about the book. It gives you the opportunity to go back next year, November 1, when we're talking about this again, For those who do this, you're going to be able to go back and say, wow, this one is done, that one is done, this one is done, that one is done. And you're going to be surprised that a lot of the goals that you didn't even remember that you wrote down, you have accomplished them. All right, it's not magic. It's just understanding how life works. All right, now after spiritual goals, the next one is personal or ego goals. Right? Personal or ego goals, right? Personal or ego goals. You have to have personal goals. What are personal goals? Those are, I want to go to the spa once a month, for example. All right, so I'm going to treat myself to the spa once a month. And, remind me to tell you how to write the goals, because it's very important to understand how to write them. All right, because you must write them correctly for them to have the maximum benefit. So personal goals are egoic, E-G-O-I-C, ego, your ego, right? Having a healthy ego. So we have to have these personal goals written down of, maybe you want to give yourself a car, all right? That's a personal goal. You want to give yourself a new car. You want to give yourself a new wardrobe of clothes. You want to give yourself, treat yourself to going out to a restaurant once a month or twice a month or whatever the case may be. You want to give yourself a trip somewhere. These are personal goals that you need to write down. So you can go into 2023 with a personal set of goals now that are different from the goals that what we did in 2022. So it will now take your life to a higher level, because now you're seeking to do some other things that you haven't done before, and you've now set those goals. And we're going to talk about how to write them, because it's very important as to how to write these goals. All right, after you personal now, then the next one, if for those who are married, like I am, right? Spouse, right? You have to have your marriage goals. What are your marriage goals? Okay, if you're married in a relationship, what do you want to see happen in that relationship? The quality of it, having dinner with your spouse, going out once a month or twice a month or whatever the case might be, or a date night once a week. You have to write those goals down and define that so that you and your family can truly get into that space, right? And then that will help your creator to understand how is it that we need to go about shaping your life. How is it that your life should be designed? Because now you're being intentional, you're being clear, you're being purposeful about the quality of how your life is going to unfold. You're writing it down, and you're writing it in your own ink. Don't just put them in, I recommend that you write them down on paper like this so you can go back to them, right? If you want to record them in a laptop and stuff like that, and you prefer to do that, that's fine. I'm not saying that you can't, but I'd recommend that you do that, right? Spousal goals. Now, somebody tell me, what will come next after spousal? What would come next? What do you think would be the next one? Somebody unmute and tell me.
Children.
Go ahead, Jane.
Children. Goals for your children.
Right. Okay, you're good. You're right. So what are you writing down now? What are the things that you're going to do with your family? Are you going to be going on a trip with them? What do you want for this child? What do you want to see happen for that child? How do you want, I've written down goals for Ariana, Alyssa, Abraham. What it is I would like to do for them, what we should do as a family, trips, how often we should take trips for the year as a family. All of those things need to be very clearly written so that you can, some of these goals I wrote them, some of them 2 years ago, and they're just manifesting now, right? So some of your goals may not manifest at the date that you said them, but I'm starting to see some of those goals come to pass that I'd written, all right? And, we're not going to have time for that, but I could show you some of the goals. And it's one of them I'm really proud about is this 3-bedroom apartment with this, that, the other. And we got at the price that I'd written down in my goal book, the exact price. All right, but I would have to go search for it. Or maybe I'll take a picture of it and send it to you guys. So the point is that you have to have these written goals, right? And then the next thing, apart from the family goals now, what's the next one after family? Somebody guess and tell me. Unmute and tell me, what do you think after we've done spiritual, we've done our personal, we've done our relationship for those who are in a relationship. I know we've done the family, the children, and the family as a whole. And And then what would be the next one?
Could it be business goals?
Hey, Lillian. Hey, now we're talking. Business, right? How are we going to take care of the family if we don't have a good business? If we do not have a functional business that's working, that we're building. You know, remember your employer, if you work a job, they give you goals. If you have a job, they wrote down those goals. They sat down in a board meeting like this at 2 months or, you know that, let me ask, has anybody ever seen the executives of a company go on something called a retreat before the end of the year? Does anybody unmute and tell me if you've ever seen them go off and do a retreat?
Multiple times.
Multiple times. What do they go on a retreat to do?
To do an analysis of how the business is going, to see what they could do better and what are the new plans and new projects they want to do.
When they finish those plans, what they come back and do and tell the employees?
Make an announcement and show them the game plan.
and the employees are going to work hard so that who get the benefits of those plans?
The same people who went on the retreat, the owners.
The owners. Guys, are you having your own retreat? Are you seeing how important this is? And I'm not here to say, oh, we're having a goal setting for our Xtreamfx team. No, you know, that's not what this is about. This is about your personal life. This is about how you can improve your life. If we choose to stay together and you choose to use Xtream, I'd be grateful for that, but there's no pressure to use that. I think it's the most amazing platform, in my opinion, because it gives us so much avenue for freedom of cash flows and allow for us to go and do the things that are important to us. All right, thank you for that, Mark. So business goals. No, you have to have clear goals for your business. Some of you have more than one business. So you have to write down goals for your businesses. If you have more than one business, you have to have goals for the year, goals per quarter. You could have goals per month. You could even have goals per week. You could even have goals per day. So you have to write them down. You have to write down things like, for those who are going to be building Xtream as a business, you have to write down goals of how often you're going to trade every day, right? You know, you also have to write down how many people are you going to recruit into the business per week. You also have to write down, you know, what rank you are going to achieve by a certain date. You also have to write down how many people you're going to help to earn a certain amount of income by a certain date. You know, you have to all have these goals written down so that our creator knows what it is that you're working on. And then you see business. Now, after business, I still have one more area to do after business. Somebody unmute and tell me, what would that area be, right? After
charity
business, what would that be?
Charity.
Thank you for that, Mark. Thank you for that, Mark. Charity, right? Charity, right? Which is different from what we call tithing and so forth, you know, which is to give back to the spiritual community that we're in or a part of. But what are you doing in the community? I call it community goals, right? Charity is a nice way to say it, but I call it community goals. So you're now writing down goals. If I was to go back, you know, you'd see, well, you guys get the point, right? So did you write community in the chat for me? Did you write community? Thank you very much. So all the goals are there. What we have to do now, ladies and gentlemen, is to take this information and don't treat this lightly. This one day, if you take like 2 hours out of the day or 2.5 hours out of the day and sit down, quiet place, get away from everybody and allow for your spirit to really inspire you as to the things that you need to do and really truly write out these areas, I'm telling you, you're going to start to see your life starting to take on a different type of shape, because now you're now being much more intentional. Things are not just happening for happening's sake. You know, you're also disconnecting yourself from what some other authority in the world call a boss, or, you know, someone else may have decided what's important for you. And then they're the ones dictating to you now, how is it that your life should be? But no, you're going to be able to take control of your life, because you're now going to become the captain of your own ship, the master of your own soul. You're going to be defining clearly these areas. You're going to be aligning yourself with your spiritual goals, aligning there. Secondly, your personally goals, getting that all working right. you have a body, you want this to be a certain weight, you want it to be a certain height, and that. No, not height, but weight. You get the point. You're probably physically probably already grown already. But you know, after that, now your marriage goals, your spousal goals, you know, what is it that's going on there, you know, for you? You know, do you have an intention to be in that type of relationship or not? Right? Because you may not necessarily want that type of relationship, depending on what your inspiration is. Right. So that is fine. If you do, you're doing it. Doesn't, there's no pressure. And then the next area is a family. You know, if you have a family, what are the goals that you're going to set for them? You know, and then in addition to that, what are your business goals? And then once your different businesses that you may be involved in, what are the goals there? And then beyond that, what are the community goals? What are you going to add to the community? How are you going to serve? You've heard me talk about the number of people that we're going to feed. You hear me talk about homes that I'm going to put in place where people are going to be clothed, fed, sheltered in Nigeria as a starting point, but spreading that throughout the world to make the world a better place. Today, I wrote on a bigger number as to how many people I'm going to do per year. You know, so those things, you have to have clear goals in those different areas written down, and it helps to hold yourself accountable so that you could go back. Because, you know, I was delightfully pleased to see October 9th, 2014, when I wrote this down, when I did this the first time. Right? That's like 6 plus to 8 years ago. Right? That's amazing, man. So success is not coincidental, ladies and gentlemen. It is intentional. You have to do it. It's not just going to happen just simply because you said something one day and you didn't follow through on it. So with that said, guys, how do we write the goals? Right? Mark, how do we write the goals? Let me hear from you. And I figure you should know this. How should you write down your goals? What's the format? Somebody, go ahead, Mark. And then type it in the chat for me, Lillian. Go ahead, Mark. You want to tell me? Tell us, rather. Mark, you went quiet on us. Abigail, do you want to share with us how should we write the goals? Because I just showed you a whole book I've written over the years. Each year, November 1 is the date for me. That's my new year. Some people do it October 1, but I choose to do it November 1. Go ahead. And very few people do this, by the way. All right, guys, unmute and tell me, do you know anybody? I'll put a number 2 in the chat. Do you personally know anybody who writes down their goals 1 month, 2 months, 3 months before the beginning of the year? Apart from the owners of the companies. I'm not talking about those guys because you know why they're doing it. But do you know a friend or somebody who you're working with that writes down their goals a month, 2, 3 months before? Jane?
I write mine 2 months. Every 2 months, I write down what I need to do, what I need to achieve.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Wonderful. Anybody else? All right. So it's clear that we need to get that going. Okay. So everybody here, I'm encouraging you guys to get into your goals. Now, Mark, are you going to share with us how to write the goals? How do you write your goals, Jane? Let's start there. See now Jane is writing her goals down. What's the format? You don't have to tell me your goals specifically, but what's the format that you write? How do you go ahead?
Okay, first what I do, I know the books I'm supposed to cover in the title. That's what I do. And I love reading the book for like Joe Hostin. It's very motivational to me. I know the chapters I'm supposed to cover by that 2 months. If it is the whole book, it depends if I'm not too busy, because at times I work 16 hours every day. And then I write down the things that my savings, the projects I want to carry on, how much money I want to save, like if I'm paid weekly, and how much money should go to my projects. That one I put it down like every 2 weeks so that I don't overload myself. And then I have people I help. I put down, first I talk to my people, I see what problems they have, then I narrow it down how I'm gonna help them, because it's not only one, it's like 4 people, at times 5. And then the little, whatever is left, then I say, okay, this one can go to my grandchild, or I can just give, because life in Kenya is so hard, I can just chip into my son to raise his family. That's what I do.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. All right, so I want to give us a format for writing the goals. Okay.
Yes.
So as you now don't overwhelm yourself to try to write 100 goals today, right? Because you know that may make you feel overwhelmed. Go ahead, Robert. You're going to say something.
Well, I was going to say, and you should have a combination of short-term and long-term goals.
Okay. Thank you for that, Robert. Thank you for that. Definitely, you want to have short-term and long-term goals. You want to give an example of a short-term and an example of a long-term goal? Robert? Okay. All right. All right. So we're going to have short-term and long-term. Go ahead, Robert. Your line went mute again. Go ahead.
Well, a long-term goal will be something that you cannot accomplish in a short period. So you would set your long-term goals for something that's going to take you longer of a time to do, and also a long-term goal will be in effect too. Like if you miss your short-term goal, then you can extend it out to make a long-term goal out of it.
Okay. All right. I got you. So like a short-term goal would be something like going to Dunkin' Donuts this Sunday, right? To have a donut, right? You could write that down as a goal, guys. Okay. And then a long-term goal could be, I want to earn $100,000 by the end of 2023 or 2024. That's a longer term goal. And that's going to take a different type of effort from going out to have a cup of coffee with some donuts on Sunday with a friend. So written goals can be as simple as going out and having a cup of coffee. Also, a goal can be the financial goal of achieving something this year or next year. So here's how we should write it. Please write this down for me, Lillian, in the chat. This is how you should begin all of your goals. I am so happy and grateful now, right? It's very important to write it that way. I am so happy and grateful now. Not happy and grateful when the goal is accomplished. I am so happy and grateful now. So that's how you should start all of your goals. So you're happy and grateful now because God doesn't have a past or future. God only has the now. So your goals have to all be present tense goals or written in an accomplished tense. So I'm so happy and grateful now that I have. Type that now for me, Lillian, that I have. So I'm so happy and grateful now, which is present. So your goal is not being written in a way that I'm going to be happy and grateful when I have this or after I've achieved that. That is not how we should write our goals. So I'm so happy and grateful now that I have. And then once you've written have, then now you're going to put in place whatever that is. I have had dinner with my children once a month during 2023, right? You could write that down. Or I'm so happy and grateful now that I have a Maserati black interior, 2023 model by December 31st, 2023. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am earning $200,000 a year in trading income based on the education I received from Xtreamfx Global Academy by December 31st, 2023. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have. So we have to put the I have for that, but we also have to put at the end the date. You have to put a date to it. And even if you pass the date and you do not accomplish the goal, you just extend the date. So the goals will always be there. And as you're going back through your goal book over time, you're going to be checking off. And then as you're reviewing them year after year, you're going to be able to see, oh, I haven't really put any time and energy into this yet. Let me go back and sort that out and start to get this one moving. And what this does, it gives your life a sense of order and framework for you to really truly have the type of life you want, as opposed to having a life by default based on what the community has said, based on what maybe your parents have said, and also what our employers try to infuse into us by helping us to buy into the vision statement of the company, as opposed to a vision statement for ourselves. If you look at the vision statement that we have in Xtream, you'll notice that it is not telling you what the company wants to achieve. It is providing us an environment for individuals to use the environment for their individual benefit. And of course, if we come together, we get a collective benefit out of it as well. So it is a really mature place for us to build a community, because it is truly designed for the well-being of the individual and the well-being of the whole. So understanding this, we have multiple opportunities here for our individual and collective benefit. So that statement, guys, I hope that somebody got some benefit out of it. I am so happy and grateful now that I have achieved this or achieved that. I'm so happy and grateful now, right? So I hope that exercise was really useful to you guys and that you got some benefit out of it. Any feedback, you're going to unmute because we only have a couple of minutes before we have to jump off. We have a fintech call coming up at 11. But anyone wants to jump off, unmute and just share, you know, any benefits, any insights, any comments, any questions, please.
All right. In terms of setting the goals, I was a bit in and out though. One of the things we want to do is that we need to be crystal clear by being specific about the goals that we want. So if we want to get a Mercedes-Benz, for example, we must be able to state that it's the S-Class and what year the model is. If it's a 2023, we must be able to describe exactly the seating inside the vehicle, what color it is, what type of rims it has on it. You know, we need to be very specific with what we ask for, rather than just, for example, asking for a cup. And then when we get the cup, then we realize we wanted a bigger cup. You need to be specific.
Thank you for that, Mark. Thank you. These goals need to be specific, in detail. The more detail you can write them, the better off you are. Anyone else? Thank you for that, Mark. Any comments, any questions? All right, I think we're good to go. All right, I think we're good to go. All right, well, here's what we're going to do. My recommendation to you is to go ahead and get your goal setting. Don't wait to even get a book. Write them on sheets of paper if you don't have a book handy. Don't go and delay doing it, because if you delay doing it, every day you delay, you procrastinate, and then before you know it, next year rolls around and you haven't even started writing your goals yet. So it's really important to go and write them down, guys. And congratulations to Jane, who's writing her goals down periodically. And that's wonderful, because eventually we want to have it as a continuous thing. And we're going to talk about affirmation cards and having some of your goals, especially the short-term ones, and your affirmation cards in your pocket, you know, or somewhere that you can easily read them to yourself every day. For those of us who didn't read your statement, mine is on my bedside. So I read that. For last night, I forgot to read it, but this morning I was back on it, read it again. And tonight I'm going to read that again. And tomorrow we're going into chapter 5 in Think and Grow Rich. Get caught up, guys. You know, you realize that we're moving right now with a sense of almost urgency. We need to grow, we need to develop ourselves, and we need to prosper and continue to do well. All right. And that's the goal right now. Next year, we're going to have several $100,000 trading income earners. We're going to have several team members that have earned very good income building the team. We're just getting started. We're just getting started. So guys, I want to bless everybody. Come on, let's unmute and bless one another before we get to the next call. And just find minimum 5 names to tell them that you bless them and their lives are magnificent. All right. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Love you guys. Love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. All right. I bless you and your life is magnificent. I bless you, Robert, and your life is magnificent. I bless you, Jane, and your life is magnificent. I bless you, Henrietta, and your life is magnificent.
I bless you, Dr. Harry. Your life is magnificent. I bless you, Maria. Your life is magnificent. I bless you, Henrietta. Your life is magnificent. I bless you, Abigail. Your life is magnificent. I bless you, Mark. Your life is magnificent. I bless you, Robert. Your life is magnificent. I bless everybody in this wonderful community. Your lives are magnificent. Have a blessed day and love you. Thank you so much, Dr. Hari, for everything you do for us. Love you.
Magnificent. I praise you,
Bless everyone and their life.
Your life is magnificent.
Have a
Amen.
blessed
Amen.
day.
Have a
Sorry,
blessed
Dr.
day,
Ali,
everyone.
I couldn't talk
Amen.
much because I'm at work. That's why I'm quiet.
That's fine. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. We are with you.
All
Let's
right.
go.
All right. Love you all, man. Go
Love
write
you
your goals,
too.
guys.
Love you.
Go do your goals. All right. Love you all. Bye-bye.